to our 5th Talk and Trade night. We're very glad to have you all here for the 5th Wednesday in a row. And we're happy that we managed to make the Wednesday night Talk and Trade night and save this 6:30 on your calendars. So we hope that you will stay with us and here and on Facebook live video. Today we have a little bit different Talk and Trade than we had for last times, because despite the fact that we have a lot of snow down there, we will be talking about the sun in Australia. We have a brilliant lawyer, Anastasija from ETHLend, to talk with you about the Australian blockchain community, what they are doing there, because she spent some time visiting that very beautiful sunny country, and then we will have the first time a person from the audience, from you guys. We will have Alex, who was very active first couple of times, raising hand and then sharing his thoughts. So we will invite him here to make his own presentation on proof of capacity and other things that you will have questions. He will be able to answer. So the night will be hosted by Anastasija. So feel free to raise your hands and give questions. And we hope that some of you will like this Talk and Trade experience and what will Alex do. And you can approach us and say that, hey, I would like to pitch my ideas, the things that I am working with, what I'm interested in, and I think that people are interested in too. So talk with us. Please share your feedback, and also just a simple thing. Go to Facebook and like our page and give us 5 stars if you like this event. And now, Anastasija, come here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Žygimantai. So, first of all, as he said, Alex, you were so active, and now you'll be going to be punished. And you're going to present your ideas and your thoughts to the Blockchain Centre audience. As Žygimantas said, I did spend some time in Australia for 2 reasons. First of all, that was a roadshow for ETHLend, company I'm working for full-time as a business developer. And other thing, also from the Blockchain Centre networks to explore what is happening there. Because Blockchain Centre Vilnius, as we all know, it's a franchise from Blockchain Centre Melbourne. And very often, we don't really hear that things are happening in Australia. We know Power Ledger, and then what else? But when I arrived there, I realized that the country is booming with the blockchain and crypto startups and ICOs, and very often the whole action happens within Australia, and they're so happy, but they're not exploring any other markets. So the topic for today is how different we are, Australians and Lithuanians and crypto communities. And by the way, this is a picture from one of the Australian startups. They implemented the Bitcoin payments and cryptocurrency payments all across the city center of Brisbane. So you can actually buy a hot dog with your crypto, and people are doing it. What I was really surprised to see, how laid back people are there. Because in Lithuania we're rushing, we're doing this, we're handling 15 projects, and we have 5 more deadlines that are coming. People there are very chilled, but somehow they're managing to develop great projects within somehow limited resources. Australia is a big country, but here in Lithuania we have the whole European Union and massive market that we can really explore. So in Lithuania we take as a granted that we have amazing IT solutions, amazing IT professionals, and in general our workforce is highly skilled, and all of us probably can speak at least 3 or 4 languages. In Australia, people speak 1 language, and this is it. I mean, it's English, so they do have some competitive benefits, but this is all. In Europe, from Lithuania, we can access 500 million our fellow European citizens, which is not really possible in Australia, because they can access, of course, Asian markets, but it requires more resources. In our case, all the laws are harmonized. We can trade freely without any taxes, with taxes but without any duties to pay. Lithuania is known as an ICO factory, and probably in last few weeks, community members, they collected all the information, and Lithuanian teams and Lithuanian-based projects are in top 10, meaning that they are really actively participating and raising money via ICO financial instruments. And the number is bulking up to $500 million dollars in last year. It's a massive amount. And thing is that our Lithuanian community, guys, you are so competent and you are so deeply involved in the space, and discussions we have here after every meetup about the blockchains and different blockchains and smart contracts and protocols, and it's happening for years and years. And probably when I was going to other meetups, not only in Australia, I didn't really realize how we take all these things for granted. That when we are all here and we combine our efforts, how good our discussions actually are. When we gather to the meetups, most probably everyone heard about something, participated in an ICO, or has amazing knowledge, and can go almost to any experts panel in some conferences, because also most of the conferences are terrible. And in Australia, as I said, it's a partially isolated market, but with the business gateways to Asia. Other thing is, they have such a stable fiscal system, they didn't really have a crisis of 2008. So it's really hard for businesses and crypto businesses there to explain that crypto is good and banks are bad, because they never experienced actually how bad banks can be. Other thing is, we have here and SWIFT and IBAN, and all our transactions are happening instantly comparing to the banks in Australia. There, it's still normal to wait 3 days. It was just blowing my mind. Like, when it happened in Lithuania, it will be like all over the news probably. What they do have, and what unfortunately we don't really have here, they have massive amount of venture capital funds and also private funds. And because the market is quite saturated, those funds are almost competing to fund good projects. And now projects are in the competitive advantage because they're negotiating with the venture capital and the funds saying, we can get financing from 5 other funds, but what else you will give us? And then funds are giving training, they're giving business management, they're just coaching the startups and other companies to succeed. And I think, unfortunately, we don't have it here, but maybe via Blockchain Centre network, and it will be ideal for Lithuanian markets, that eventually we'll have such a list of investors that companies would have access to the international capital. And they have plenty of blockchain and crypto projects. Of course, the most famous one is Power Ledger, that is a competitor to some extent to the WePower, that's originated from Lithuania. Other thing is Horizon Estate, and their project is quite interesting because they're implementing voting on the blockchain. Voting and digital access to databases, and it's a really cool thing. Because Australia maybe is bigger, they have such a massive crypto and blockchain community, and you can find blockchain, I think, probably for housewives. You can go to local regions, like to the towns where we have like 5,000 people, you go to the meetup page and you'll see crypto in Noosa, like with 15 members. And you have them all over. I was trying to make a compilation what is happening there. And these are only few different meetups that when you enter a meetup page, and you can see it's a Brisbane Women in Blockchain, Bitcoin for Beginners, crypto traders, all kinds and colors can be found there. So I went to probably all of these ones and just meeting a community there. And when it says crypto for beginners, you will actually have great professionals explaining basic things to beginners. Because if people are joining Lithuanian Ethereum meetup or blockchain meetups, the level of communication is already so high that people just cannot get into the industry anymore because it's too complicated, and very often we don't have patience to explain the basic things. And their meetups and little conferences for beginners are really booming, and people are paying lots of money just to know from a reliable source what is a blockchain, what is a Bitcoin, what is an Ethereum, how to get a wallet, and those kind of things. Very important is reputable source. So, and lots of community members are doing it also for free, just to educate fellow Australians. But amount of different kinds of blockchains is just insane. There are different ones, for instance, blockchain for medical institutions, blockchain for lawyers, blockchain for governmental institutions. And if you go through a list of the people, you can see that those are actual governmental officials who are meeting and discussing blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And it was such a great thing to see it, because now today we had a conference and some of our politicians and bank representatives, they were asking if cryptocurrency is a bubble. And still the question is there. So it's quite sad. Every meetup, and I hope we will bring this tradition to Lithuania, it has beers and pizzas. And it doesn't matter if it's a Monday meetup, it's a Tuesday meetup, Wednesday, and if it's a Friday, you'll just have more beers there. And because it was really, really hot, people are coming with flip-flops. And it's so funny, because you're talking to them. I was presenting ETHLend and explaining about decentralized lending and how it will change the world, and people were happy to listen to it, having pizza, beer, and sitting in shorts. But then I realized it's only the form, and we need to look at the substance. So obviously shorts are not really appropriate when it's -7, but maybe in the summer we can implement this tradition to Lithuania. So atmosphere is really chilled, and good thing is that all kinds of startups and successful companies, they're just there. They're not really pitching their products, but they're active part of the community, and they're just sharing knowledge, they're sharing news. And while being there, I met guys from Consensus, the biggest developers company. There was a power ledger, Trouble by Bit. It was their kangaroo lying on the grass. Digital X, Horizon Estate, the ones that are implementing voting, and many, many others. When I was there, actually Nathan from the picture there, he's implementing blockchain and Bitcoin in few different sectors, including virtual reality and agriculture, and it's being done not via ICOs or any other fundings. People just incorporating technology as it is into their businesses. And you can see it in so many different situations. It's really wonderful. Some of them are creating small ledgers that will be later connected to bigger ledgers for their accounting companies. There are law firms talking that they would like to optimize their work using smart contracts and blockchain to store information. Lots of things are happening, and it was really nice to see that it's not only about ICOs. Of course, you go to the local crypto valley, as they call, and there are plenty of pubs and bars, and every second person is talking about ICO, but every first one, they're talking how to implement those things and change something for good. And it was really nice to see. And this is actually the proof that you can buy a hot dog with your Bitcoin. First day when I arrived, that was Crypto Valley in Brisbane, I was just taking pictures. You see Bitcoin, you see some terrible, those sandwiches were really bad actually. You can buy this terrible sandwich using your Dash or Litecoin or Steem. And that was really good. And also other things, you can go on tours in Australia using your and paying by crypto. At some point I was thinking, well, that's not really wise, because Bitcoin, it's still $9,000 back then, why would you spend it? And then I just realized that this is how it should be. If we say that these are cryptocurrencies and they're changing the world and it's a means of payments, we do need to use them. And it's really good that lots of companies there and lots of merchants are implementing solutions to pay using your cryptocurrency as an alternative to traditional ways. Also, all the merchants I spoke around the area, they said that they're saving massive amounts of money on the transaction fees and on the fees to the bank, because they're being charged a lot there if customers are paying by debit or credit cards. And there I was basically presenting ETHLend, and we're a decentralized financial marketplace. But again, when I had this slide, while being there, and it was so beautiful to see actual people, for instance, from our Telegram group. And those people, I chatted with them online, maybe for hours, and then I went to Australia, it was like 30 hours flight, and I met them in real life. And that was like absolutely surreal that, first of all, they know you chatted with them online, and maybe they even invested. And then you just feel such a massive responsibility for these people that they actually trusted in you and you see them. Other thing is, probably you see those two lovely ladies sitting on the front, and they are both heavily investing into cryptocurrencies. They're going to every meetup with their little notebooks, making the notes, talking to traders, and traders are happy to coach them just for free, and they're happily trading. For instance, on the other meetup, I don't have a picture there, there was a lady, she said that she's a nurse, and when she was in church, she heard two guys next to her talking about trading, and she asked them, what are they talking about? And they explained her, and this is how she got into cryptocurrencies. So she's actually investing not only in altcoins, but in tokens. And she also goes to every meetup with a little notebook. And what I realized that when you look at our meetups, we're all young, we're all probably working in the industry or IT sphere, we're all this highly skilled workforce, but we don't have too many people who are our parents' age, or who are closer to their 50s, for instance. And it would be lovely to see and find ways how we can include those people just to the discussion about cryptocurrencies, discussions how we can use blockchain on everyday life, and how we actually can improve our own lives. And I think it will be a good open discussion just to see how we can do it. No one says that we need to ask them to invest, because it still is very expensive, but just to include more people, not only from our social circle, to join the dialogue. Because when we work from Blockchain Centre or from Vilnius City Centre, it feels like everyone's into crypto. Like we all know everything and we're discussing the latest trends, all the token dropped, all how it's bullish market. But the reality is that we need to make the whole space more inclusive. For women, for kids, maybe touring students that are doing amazing things while promoting coding and teaching people. Also for elderly people. Because when there, I saw people in their also 70s going to crypto meetups, because first of all it's fun, they like to hang out with young people, there's a free beer, and you have also pizza, and you just talk and educate yourself. And from there you can see lots of great synergies are happening, because you have members of old business, and members of new businesses and new startups, and they're coaching each other, and they're teaching each other, and you can see great results what's happening. But in Lithuania, I think we have even more potential, because we're so hungry to earn money, to do things, and it's just easier for us to travel and find even partnerships. And what was really important for me, here we have an actual internet, which is really fast. It's when we travel, probably you guys all notice it, when we travel abroad, for us it's not normal when page is loading. It should be just there. And I did suffer in Australia a lot. But in general, I visited Melbourne Blockchain Centre. At the moment, Lithuanian Centre wasn't open yet, and we had a wonderful discussion about the communities, how they're promoting things, how they're involving more and more people to join them. And you can see in one of the slides that in their meetup group, they have more than 3,000 blockchainers. You can see it there. And I hope at some point we'll have same amount of people, or probably even more, in our Blockchain Centre meetup group. It can be a great place to exchange the knowledge. Also, I would highly encourage to ask all the questions from people who are working here, because maybe we can provide some contacts, because all of us we are traveling, we are doing things. So if you need some contacts, or maybe guidance, or just links to some startups or projects, just please approach us, and I think all Blockchain Centre staff will be really happy to help you. So from my side, this is it. I'll be waiting for questions. Alex, I see that he's really eager to come to the stage and present his project. And again, we're so happy, Alex, that you are so active, and that you will establish this tradition of being active. One second.
Just wait a few.
Hello? Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Let's start my presentation.
So, Alex, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sadovskij. I'm a team member of CryptoPal. It's an upcoming application
also partner coach analyst at Ikigai Group and the founder of Storage Mining. IO is a cloud service for mining proof of capacity and proof of space cryptocurrency. So yeah, so to begin tonight, I would like to talk about proof of capacity, and before that, we will start from proof of work and proof of stake. Just a couple of words to compare these algorithms and how they're different and how they can solve the issues we're facing now. So proof of work is basically the cryptocurrency that is using proof of work is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero. It was first introduced in a white paper in 2008, and proof of work protocol has been the main goal of determining cyber attacks. Maybe somebody of you want to talk more about proof of work and explain? No. Okay. So we will continue. So proof of work got some really deep problems at the moment. So it is increasing difficulty. It is very hard for average person to start mining like Bitcoin. You need to buy very expensive equipment. And also monopolies. Monopolies is one of the largest problems for proof of work in Bitcoin. For example, you may know company Bitmain. Bitmain is producing ASIC miners and also got one of the largest mining pools. So there is a lot of big companies involved in proof of work coins. Okay, so moving.
Maybe,
yeah.
Sorry, maybe somebody is actually mining and they know all the problems that miners are facing while ordering equipment, all the costs.
It is pretty hard to start mining Bitcoin because you need to order the equipment and you will get it only after a couple of months. So, yeah. So moving forward, the main problem with the Bitcoin is energy consumption. It is this is the chart. I took data from January. So in January, Bitcoin was consuming more electricity than Peru, and almost like a half Hong Kong. And I updated this information just recently today. So Bitcoin is moving forward with more energy consumption, and at the moment it is on 48th place, and it consumes more energy than Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh lives more than 162 million people. So you can imagine in this period of time, like in 10 years, we have this huge country, virtual country, who uses so much electricity. So going next from proof of work, we have a proof of stake. The first coins with the proof of stake was Blackcoin, NXT, then Neo, Helix, OKCash, NEV, Stratis, and lots of our other coins. First proof of stake was introduced in 2012, and NXT became the first 100% proof of stake coin, and it was launched in 2014. So proof of stake is much greener than proof of work because you don't need to use that miners. All you need is just to buy coins and stake them. For example, the easiest way to start staking coins, just to buy Neo, and you getting gas by holding the coins on Binance or in your private wallet. The main problem for me, I think, is unfair distribution, because more coins you have, more power you have. Yeah, and basically all of these projects of proof of stake now starting with ICOs and pre-mine, which is either not the best solution for the coin. So moving forward to proof of capacity, there is only one coin at the moment on the market. It is Burst coin. We hope to see one more coin, which is proof of capacity or proof of space this summer, is Chia coin, which was created by founder of BitTorrent. So proof of capacity was first presented in a white paper in 2013. It is very similar to proof of work, but it's way energy efficient, more cheap and accessible for average person just to start mining and contribute to this cryptocurrency. But there is also a problem, the same problem with the proof of work. Maybe there will be a future monopolist. There is no monopolist at this time. Yeah. And today I will talk more about Burst. So no part of this presentation should be considered as investment advice. So if you will invest in Burst, invest not more than you're willing to lose. Okay, so Burst, the main idea of...
Can I have a question so we move on? Just
Yeah.
a quick one. Proof of storage, how does it compare to proof of store time, like what Filecoin has? Like just as a comparison?
Yeah, you are talking like Filecoin and Seacoin and storage coin, like the same concept. It's more a cloud service. When you're giving your free drive space to use, and the consumers pays you in tokens for the bandwidth and the place they use for storing the files. Actually, with the Burst, you're actually mining those coins like proof of work using actual gear, using hard drives. So we will be talking.
I'm sorry, then how is it more energy efficient?
Because hard drives is only they are only reading, and hard drives consumes only from 5 to 10 watts electricity per hour. In comparison to with the ASIC miners, they're using a lot of energy. So at this slide, you see that average transaction for Bitcoin costs from $24 to $200, and average transaction of Burst is way cheaper, from 1 cent to 52 cents. So Burst, main idea of Burst is a digital currency and payment system based on a blockchain technology and secured by proof of capacity. Unlike Bitcoin, expensive and environmental and friendly proof of work based mining, Burst uses a revolutionary green proof of capacity algorithm, which makes it future-proof and fair. So a little bit the history of Burst. It's not a very new coin. Actually, Burst coin was first released on 2014 by original developer under alias Burst coin. Real identity of this developer is still unknown today. After 1 year of development, this original developer was disappeared, so nobody knows now who he was and what he was trying to do.
But the current team, can you find their profiles online? Are they public, or they also?
So before this presentation, I tried to contact Burst team. I have managed to contact Telegram administrator and marketing person. Burst, the POC consortium team, they would like to stay anonymous. So they invested in Burst a couple years ago by buying a large amount of coins, and they will like working for this technology, and at some point they will cash out these Burst coins for the work.
So basically they also have a kind of monopoly, what can be dangerous.
It could be, but it doesn't seem there is monopoly at the moment.
All right.
So yeah, it's awareness of maybe future problems. So this coin was launched without initial coin offering or pre-mine. The Genesis block was published on 2014 14. Yeah, and then the main developer was disappeared, and in 2017, in the aftermath of spam attack, a new developer team, a POC consortium was introduced on Bitcoin Talk. They have been recognized by former development team as the designing successor for Burst. So yeah, moving forward to innovations. What is innovational about Burst coin? What it could do at the moment, and what is the future for Burst? So Burst is the first cryptocurrency which is using proof of capacity algorithm, which is allows efficient mining with unused hard drives. Also, Burst was the first cryptocurrency to implement working Turing complete smart contracts. So, yeah, this is a very interesting fact, because we all knew that maybe Ethereum or other coins was the first who implemented the smart contracts, but the Burst was the first. Yeah, also atomic cross-chain transactions also was from Burst before any other coin. So the difference between proof of work and proof of capacity, as I said before, they are quite similar, but proof of work uses expensive GPU IC hardware to generate millions of guesses per second to try to find winning nonce. When the new round starts, all guesses will no longer work, so you have to start again. You can think of proof of work like a mining machine as a scratch-off ticket printer. The machine eats electricity and prints out tickets that may or may not be winner. So the proof of capacity, using regular CPU or GPU to generate guesses that are stored to hard drive. So it's only one time you need to generate these guesses by plotting your hard drive. So you're making a plotting file which is equal to the maximum size of free drive space. So it is cheap and accessible for everybody. You can also think about Burst as a miner with a local ticket printer where tickets can be reused over and over. So you're using only one ticket every block. You're just reading data from your hard drives to guess the block.
Sorry to interrupt. And what are the incentives then for miners?
By incentives, you mean?
For instance, when people are using proof of work,
yes.
Miners validate transactions
yes.
for the fee. So in this case, it's not.
It's also there is a block. Each block has some kind of reward. This reward decreases every month by 5%. So you will be able to mine Burst coin till 2025. So 7 more years. So in 7 years you will be able only to mine 7 coins per block. At the moment there is 1,153 Burst coins per one block. So it is 350 blocks per day. Yeah, moving forward, the team is getting ready to implement the maximum. They introduced a new concept. Not just a theoretical one, is assertion of already existing technologies that were already proven in real life usage to work. The job of POC consortium is to do the integration. We are the way beyond of proof of concept theoretical phase. So what this means, you see this slide, so Burst trying to implement all those cool features that the main cryptocurrency has main top cryptocurrency has. So from Bitcoin, they are taking layers and Lightning Network implementation. From IOTA, they are taking Tangle technology, and from Monero and Zcash, privacy. So yeah, and actually Burst was a hard fork from NXT. NXT was the first proof of stake coin. They removed proof of stake and created this proof of storage algorithm.
And while implementing all these technologies, especially with IOTA, which is a tangle, so it's not an actual blockchain, and then implementing things from a blockchain, is there an explanation why they needed those particular?
For scalability, as you know, Bitcoin is very hard at the moment to make a microtransaction. It is not possible because of high fees. So a burst would be possible to make potential infinite number of transactions with these technologies.
For the small fee?
Yeah, for I think very small. Yeah, for a small fee. At the moment, the fee is one burst per transaction, and it doesn't change at all. So the maxen can allow billions of transactions per day. In fact, number on transaction it can handle in potential infinite. As you know, Tangle network, how it works is with every new transaction, you get a possibility to handle twice more transactions. So you can have infinite network with this. Am I correct?
Do you have Tangle specialists here?
No.
Is Tangle the same as sharding?
So what tangle means, they introduced the tangle, we call it tangles. As you can see in the picture on the right, so what Burst did, they introduced colored tangles. You can see the picture on the right, like tangles raising from the same block like 92 and raising from block like 91 and continuing throughout the time throughout the blocks. So what tangle is like in blockchain lightning network is off-the-chain operations basically, where the tangle itself can be very parameterized, like from anonymity or the anonymity, proof of work, proof of stake. All those parameters can be varied when opening Tangle. So basically what Tangle means is settling operations of the blockchain basically to make it cheap.
Yeah. Did it answer your question?
Is it the same as sharding? No.
So about anonymous transactions, the payment channel issuer is able to issue a Tangle following his desired properties. He has possibilities to use ZK snark or ring signatures technologies for it, or he can choose it, keep it public by default. So with Burst, you could choose how you will make the transaction. Is it private or public? So it's, I think the Verge is doing the same thing.
And will the fee depend on the way you choose, if it's a public or private?
There will be dynamic transactions fees. The POC consortium proposed comes in the form of the dynamic transactions fees. The cost of transactions will depend on network load. In other words, the field state of forged blocks. In order to include in the next block a transaction currently in the mempool must provide a higher tax fee than is currently free slot in the block requires.
Which means?
Which means they will implement this dynamic transactions fee, so they will adjust by the network load.
Free slots eventually.
Yeah. Yes, this is some things they will be implemented with the maxen. They are detailed, described in a white paper. So it is a combination of many technologies: Tangle, Lightning Network, proof of capacity, ring signature, ZK snark, in order to create a global scale and green anonymous cryptocurrency. Yep, about the community. At the moment, Burst has spent $0 on marketing at all. So the community is only based on the enthusiasts and people who believe in these technologies. Also the team, they're more they're thinking about technologies, but not the wealth they get from this coin at this point. So Telegram group is not a large one. It's only 2,300 people. There is a lot of more people on Discord groups because of different pools, different chats, so it is hard to count them all. They have 6,000 subscribers on Reddit, 24,000 followers on Twitter, and 1,000 of users on forums, community forums, and fun forums. So in next, I think maybe next week, if I'm correct, there will be a hard fork for the Maxion. Actually, they will implement the Maxion in the wallets, but it will be not active for now because they need to test everything. And I hope to see this all functions and all these awesome features available by summer or by the end of this year. So yeah, this is basically a short review of Burstcoin. There are only one coin that is possible to mine. I hope to see more coins coming this year, like Chia. And I think this will answer the question and the problem about energy consumption and accessibility for everybody to join this mining.
But then, is it really the way to go? Because the energy still will be used, and the more people will join the network, of course it won't reach probably the levels of the Bitcoin, but the more people join the network, still the energy consumption will be there.
Yeah, but it is significantly lower than Bitcoin. So in comparison with Bitcoin, if it will be like 700 less, it is solution for.
Yeah, it is a substantial amount. I have a question. Do you actually know if the Burst team is cooperating or talking to other development teams on, because their roadmap is really challenging to implement those things?
Yeah. About team, as I said, the team trying to stay anonymous. The only information I could get is by talking to a marketing person. So I hope one day team maybe will talk about themselves. So.
And what community says on the Discord channel?
Sorry?
And what the community says on the Discord channel?
One moon.
Oh, well, nothing. So,
so little disclaimer, all the team and community actually is waiting for very high price at the end of the year after these hard forks. So you got to watch out this one.
I think we're all waiting for high prices.
Yep, so this is basically it. Maybe you have some question more?
Guys, it was very technical and very detailed presentation. Do you have any questions? Maybe something wasn't clear?
What is burst capitalization? No.
What?
Burst capitalization.
2 billion.
2 billion.
Yeah, 2 billion coins. Actually,
not coins in euros, euros, dollars.
We can check at the moment. I don't really know. I think it was about 100 million.
44.
44 million. Yeah, everything dropped. Good time to buy.
But it's not an investment advice. Yeah, and gentleman there.
Yeah, I just want to ask one thing. Like Bitcoin or any other currency, like whatever it is, which is proof of work, it can be mined on a laptop. Well, basically it can be, but you will burn your laptop. With this proof of capacity solution, is there any tests or something else like you can mine on laptop?
You can mine on every free drive. Actually, you need to use or phone. You just need a free space. You're uploading special file on this free space. You need to have at least 500 gigabytes or 1 terabyte to mine approximately 1 coin a day, something like that. So basically, you could use any device that has storage.
But then
you're using only a storage.
Yeah, true. But then device should have the storage. So, but let's say you mentioned phone. So can I start using my phone to mine the burst, or it will be?
Actually, you can. You just plug with USB cable, and you're using your phone like simple drive. You erase everything and
use the storage.
And
Yeah.
use the storage.
Well, this is what I do.
For mining, if from mining side, you can use as cheaper hard drives as you can find. SMR drives are working perfectly because they're archive drives. They're created to be read a lot, but you only writing one time. So you're making this file, and after that you just read it. So also this reading speed is important because the miner, the computer you're building has limitations. Depends on CPU or GPU you will use to read all those drives. So actually you're using some kind of CPU just to read the information from the drive. So when you're building machine, you need a motherboard, CPU, like a normal mining machine, but only difference that you use hard drives instead of graphical cards.
So the CPU also affects the mining speed, yes?
It affects the reading time. So how many drives you can read, because you're using 8 terabyte drives. One more tip, external drives are cheaper than internal. If you're looking to invest, you're using your drive through USB or SATA port. So it depends on CPU how many drives you can read. So if you have like 10 drives, you need a couple cores at least.
So basically only technological limitations as you would build your personal, I don't know, gaming computer. If you would put like, I don't know, 100 terabytes of disk space, you would probably have trouble accessing all that data. So as I mentioned, it's almost the same as building your regular gaming computer. If you have like, I don't know, 100 terabytes of data on your machine, you would probably have some trouble accessing all of it, at the time, or having operations on that amount of space.
Yeah, it's all depends on the reading, because every block, the time for block is generated randomly, so you never know if the block will be fine in 20 seconds or 40 seconds. So you're when you're building machine, you would like to target that your miner will read all your drives in between 20 or 30 seconds, so you will not lose chance to mine those fast blocks, because blocks can be from 20 seconds to 40 minutes or longer. Average time is 4 minutes. So if your reading time is very long, you connected a lot of drive, your CPU is very low, you're reading, for example, 250 seconds, so you will lose all those blocks, which is faster than your reading time. So you need to calculate everything.
Just a small one thing. It depends on the file system type, or just the raw level of the storage capacity.
Yeah, you can actually use Windows, Mac, or Linux.
But it reads just the capacity of the storage like raw, or like NTFS, HFS, or something like that. Is it any difference? Because I'm thinking about actually storage attached network.
Yeah.
If you can use the storage attached network, SAN, for mining this coin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a huge amount of space.
Yeah.
You could, but still you would have trouble accessing all that data to find the solution for the transactions, as you mentioned before, like from 20 seconds to 40 minutes.
Yeah, it all depends on the reading time, and also it will take a huge amount of time to get ready to start mining, because you cannot start mining right away with a graphical card just connected, running a miner, some drivers, overclocking, and you're done. With the hard drives, you have to make all this calculation in front. So, for example, if you're using like this laptop is late 2013 i7 Mac, to plot one 8 terabyte hard drive, with SSD inside. It is taking me about 35 hours for one hard drive to prepare it to start mining. So yeah, maybe some more questions?
Mining process, does it generate some network traffic? Is it big or is it small?
It is very small. You get the information, you scan all your drives, and you're sending out nonsense. So you're sending out deadlines. That means that also your hard drives is not working constantly like GPU miners. They are constantly working. So the hard drive is only working when you need to read a new block started. The all information from your hard drives has been read. If you found some short deadlines, that is cool. You might win a block. If your deadline is way off, like 3 hours or 4 hours, the other person who has faster deadline will win this block.
And how does it work? Do they actually did they implement the anonymity layers from Zcash and Monero? What is the status of that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming in 2 weeks. The hard fork, and they will implement this into a wallet, but it will be inactive. At the moment, in the wallet, you can use assets. Actually, you can make your own token, which is backed by Burst. There is also a marketplace. With your ID, with your wallet address, you can open your store inside of Burst wallet, and you can sell any virtual products or real products you want.
And then the token, it will be based on Burst network, or they will use something like Ethereum network?
Burst network.
Burst network.
Everything is on top of the Burst.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting how Burst coin actually approaches the internal coins. So basically, one of the examples can be like elections, using those tangles I mentioned before. So, and even not even like elections, you can do ICO, IPOs inside basically Burst by using those internal assets. And because the tangle itself can be parameterized, it can have like time to live, basically expiration time. And you can say, okay, we're launching new ICO, and it has like, I don't know, 60 days time to live, and after that it tangles back to the original blockchain.
Oh, that's good. And will they accept certain cryptocurrencies that the Burst network is kind of incorporated with?
Yeah, so one of the features is ACCT, Alex mentioned before, is asynchronous cross-chain transfers or transactions. So basically those tangles allows cross-chain operations, cross-chain transactions to be made basically on top of Burst. So you can basically use Ethereum, Bitcoin, or any other currency.
So what they do, they just did the atomic swap and things that like one chain wants to implement.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But the wallet and the ICOs coming from the wallet, because Pillar Project, they had a presentation here last week, they also have this option that from their wallet, using their platform, people can perform ICOs, and in this case, it will be absolutely anonymous, correct?
It can be, not must. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So it can be anonymous. As Alex mentioned, there are 2 ways of staying anonymous, ZK snarks and ring signatures, I think.
Yeah.
So basically, when you create a new tangle, you choose what you want to do. So there are like, I don't know, up to 10 parameters. You can choose the algorithm for either proof of work, proof of stake, what you want your tangles to be working based on. Then privacy. You can choose either public, either ZK snarks, either other method basically for staying anonymous, or public. So all those things can be turned on or turned off for your tangle.
That's really interesting.
So it's like really nice alternative actually for maybe even smart contracts, those like color tangles.
But then in this case, it will be partially off blockchain because of the tangle.
Yeah.
And
But it allows scalability beyond blockchain or any other currency, because IOTA or like Lightning Network is just single layer of tangle basically. And Burst allows many multiple layers of those tangles because they are colored tangles, so you can have like, I don't know, thousands of them at a single point of time. Exciting, right?
It is exciting to see. It's really challenging roadmap to implement, and when the companies start to implement it, remember when Bancor, they raised massive amounts of money and they were developing the whole year the Bancor protocol, which is good, but it's not super exciting. And it's only, let's say, atomic swap between the tokens. So when companies say that they are going to do these things, which are really amazing on paper, I'm always wondering to see how they will do it. Yeah. I mean, to see those brilliant developers, in life.
Yeah, the difference, I wanted to say it, but I forgot. Yeah, maybe what I was going to say, I forgot what it was.
So basically, it's sad that the team wants to stay anonymous, because it would be awesome actually to see what people are behind
it.
that.
I remember. The difference between Burst, they never started ICO, so never pre-mined points. So this is a big plus for them, because they're not telling people, give me your money and we will make something in the future. Actually, they're doing things without asking for money from the community or the members. So this is the difference. So we will see how it will go.
Yeah, it's a good point. So who will invest to the ICO made on the Burst platform? Probably I will also. Just to try. And while walking with the microphone, actually I saw a few people opening Burst websites. So how many people will start or try to mine it?
Yeah, you will see it after they start marketing in a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
it's a very good time at the moment for just secret information.
If you have any questions, I guess Alex can answer, because he's like into this a lot, and basically he's gonna have like 1.3 petabytes of data dedicated for this project. So
yes, and this is only one of the 10 of the project. So we're aiming to have some percent of main network with our service.
And this allows for block to be kept, as Alex mentioned. So the bigger stake of disk space you have, the more possibilities for you to mine the block and get a reward.
Yeah.
But then is there any technical way for these miners to arrange massive consortiums like the same that is happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum? So let's say it's still going to be this massive mining farms, and we'll still have the same problem with monopoly, or it's not technically possible, or they are preventing it somehow.
It is at this point, I think it is possible to have monopolies, but I hope they will think about this issue in the future and prevent it somehow. So this will be an interesting solution from the team, how to avoid these huge companies and monopolies to actually get into Burst. So you can imagine if Amazon or Google or Facebook with enormous storage sizes, they can actually join in this Burst coin and they can ruin actually. But I don't think so that these huge companies will do it this way.
So you're gonna
their data to ruin the cryptocurrency market.
Or they're gonna invent their own currencies.
Yeah, maybe we will see more proof of capacity points. Like I mentioned, Chia, the BitTorrent trader, is launching proof of space plus time, they call this. It's basically the same proof of capacity. Burst calling this file inside of hard drive blotting. Chia calling it seeding. So it's basically the same concept. We will see more and more points with such an algorithm coming.
It's a really interesting concept. Anyone has any questions?
Which exchanges have Burst in line?
Polonix, Bittrex, Bittrex, Polonix, the main ones. Upbit, Chainix. So they're actually on good exchanges like Bittrex. The volume is there, but the prices actually dropped now.
And also they have burst asset exchange, what it practically means.
Yeah, you can create assets inside of Burst wallet, backed by Burst coins. So you could, you could create your own asset in the wallet and use it how you really want. Yeah.
You use Burst as a collateral, basically.
Yeah.
So, for that.
Well, that's interesting, and while price is dropping, and it's not a financial advice, but it's interesting concept to see that a group of people undertakes this massive responsibility and promises so much, and when they will start delivering, then yeah, it will be really fantastic if they will be able to do so.
Yeah.
Question, guys?
But my question is, so we don't know anyone who is behind that technology. You know only for marketing.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking before this presentation with Tom. He's a marketing guy at Bird. And I could actually read his answer.
Maybe you know where they are based in, or?
Not really. Yeah, so my question, what is the motive behind team to stay Burstoshi Nakamoto? Yeah. And the answer was there are some CEOs and shareholders of important companies in POC consortium that might not want to have their names attached to crypto project for the moment. So I hope they will present the team later on after maybe this the maximum will start working.
And how the community feels, because they have quite a big following, let's say on Discord and Twitter. So are all these people happy?
Yeah, community growing. So they're like waiting for
and they don't have any problem that personalities and identities of the founder is gone, so we can handle it. That personalities of the main core developers are not known.
Yeah, but they're actually doing everything very professional. You can read weekly reports on what actually they are doing. So yeah, if you want to learn more about BurstCoin, you can visit burstcoin.org. This is the blog, the website called Burn Coins. So every week he makes a blog post about changes, what is coming, how many changes was made on a GitHub. Actually, Burst one of frequently updating coin in GitHub, like top 10 coins.
Yeah, it's actually important thing to look at when companies are claiming that they're developing something and they don't have an account on the GitHub. For me personally, it's always a no-go, because if you're not on the GitHub and you're in the development space, something is wrong there.
I'm using my own internet.
Oh.
So yeah, you can actually read more about BurstCoin and read the white paper and all the wallets, all the tutorials, how to start using roadmap and everything is on their website. By using Telegram, you can reach the same person I was reaching, the marketing guy. You could talk with them. They're actually very responsive. Oh, sign out.
But do you see a wide adoption of the Burst? There are kind of older coins, let's say even Dash, especially all the coins that are related with privacy. Let's say mainstream merchants and media, they're not too happy about them, so they're not too happy to incorporate them into their businesses. Do you see that it might be a problem for the Burst scalability?
Yeah, I see no problem. This is the main point this team is working is to implement this technology first, and after that they will start this marketing and the use cases. So I think we will see in future more and more use cases with the Burst. Actually, very nice very nice feature is on marketplace when you can sell your goods. Actually, I was when I started with the Burst, I actually needed to use this marketplace to buy some legal program for plotting these hard drives. So yeah, it's actually was useful for me.
Oh, that's interesting. So, any more questions?
Are there any plans to include Burst on more popular exchanges like Bitfinex, Binance, and so on?
I think all the enterprises and the exchanges will come after. Technology will come first, and then everything will follow. Enterprise and more exchanges, definitely.
Plus, it's just really time-consuming to get listed on the exchanges with all the amounts of new tokens and coins, and exchanges, they need to do their due diligence, so it just takes time. And sometimes it doesn't even mean the project is good or bad, it just physically takes time for the teams, both projects and exchanges to list the coin.
Yeah, I have a question. Have you tried to research how centralized it is? Like, is there a wallet explorer or inside information about that?
How it's centralized?
Because how many percent, for example, the creators have?
I hope I will have these answers after this talk. I could reach the Dan and he will answer these questions.
Because it looks very interesting. I'm also curious about the features. Have you said marketplace and asset exchange? Right?
Assets, yeah. Actually, I used assets also by mistake after the pool I'm mining went down. The pool owner asked which type of currency I would like to get in assets or in coins. So for me, it was assets. Everyone was writing assets. Okay, I took my burst coin in assets. So now this assets brings me some of the burst coin every week. Just for that I'm owning them.
But maybe I'll just specify Thomas's question, but I didn't completely get, so you cannot actually see, you can obviously see how many coins are being mined.
You can.
But then you can't see, can you see, I don't know, some wallets, who owns the massive amounts of...
Rich list?
Yeah.
This thing I skipped before this presentation, but maybe we will find some information.
Yeah, so this is it. The number one, if 35% is actually by Bittrex, and number two is by Polonix. Some other guy has 1%, M2. Yep. So you can actually see all the wallets.
Can you click on stats, please, on the left?
Sorry for the internet. Loading not fast enough. Yeah, so the hard fork, as I know, will be on 470,000 block. So in 4,000 blocks approximately will be hard fork. So yeah, every day have approximately 350 blocks, 353. Every month, reward drops by 5%.
For the whole network, or only for miners who joined newly? How it actually works?
For everybody.
Oh, right.
Okay, so this is the block was loading before. You can see the weekly reports every week and more blog posts. So you could really read in depth about Burst and how development is going every week.
Well, that's really good that they're keeping community updated, because sometimes you can see the whole team on the website, but there are no updates. But also, for some projects, it might be a problem to get the coin listed, because exchanges, they're still accountable to their communities. And if they list a coin, especially nowadays, with such massive amount of scams, so yeah, it might be, yeah.
So usually what exchanges
So usually some exchanges, what they do is they delist the coins that are not in use. So previously you asked like what exchanges are they on, like several. That's fine, but as Alex mentioned, the technology is still in progress being developed, right? So if they're going to be listed on even more exchanges, there is a risk that they're going to be delisted for not being used. So I guess that's like some smart move for them to be not listed maybe now on more exchanges and get listed later when the technology proves or is developed more and more.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
because exchanges, they need liquidity and trading.
This is actually the not number one priority for them to be listed on more exchanges.
I mean, it's also expensive to get listed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's 1 million now. 24-hour volume is 1 million at the moment, so it's okay. I think
it was 10 million. Same.
Yeah.
After McAfee, also it was featured on Forbes, Immersed, and McAfee had on the list. So this is what actually happened after.
Oh, McAfee promoted it?
Yeah.
Okay, then it explains a lot as well. Because I wonder how the team is using the funds, you know?
Actually, they invested and they are holding coins for.
Well, someone paid McAfee, that's for sure, because that's what he does. And yeah, so it's just interesting because it's almost 4 years now that they're developing, and it's still.
So the new team appeared only last year, 2017. So before, as I mentioned, the original developer had gone, and the burst was kind of dead coin. So just everything coming back.
And dead coin meaning there was no trade or they were hacked? What happened
there was no developer with this coin, so it was unknown state of the coin at that point. So it also was spamming attacks. Yeah, being an open source project. On July 22nd, 2017, an attacker spammed the Burst network with messages, causing wallets to crash and splitting the network in multiple forks. The network remained unstable for several days, and on August of 2017, in the aftermath of these attacks, the new developer team gathered up and introduced on the Bitcoin talk. So now they are responsible for all the updates.
It's really interesting way how to develop. We cannot say if it's good or bad, it's just new ways how companies work. And it will be amazing, and I hope they will succeed and they will implement what they promise. Then it will be like success story for anonymous developers team, or maybe it's like 1 or 2 only developers, plus Tom, who is on the Telegram, who are working.
Yeah, I was asking how big is team, so yeah, I have no answer for that.
Well, I think after this meetup we can all join the Telegram and just ask a million questions.
Yeah, sure, why not? I think they will try hard to answer all of them, because they're very responsive. So like get an answer the same evening on 11 o'clock in the evenings.
Well, I just have a small remark. Nowadays it's a standard that the team or community managers are present 24/7.
Yeah.
Just.
So maybe it's proper of really mature team just didn't want to expose themselves because maybe some big people behind that.
Yeah.
The shareholders who invested in early days of Burst, so.
Because currently there are like almost every ICO.
Currently, almost every ICO lists people, like rock stars, developers, ex-CEOs, Google people, and so on. So it's like a checklist now. If you choose ICO to check what's behind, what's the team, and this it's unique by staying anonymous. Kind of intriguing, right?
It's a technology-driven currency, not the team-driven and star names on the list.
So I guess let's see and wait what progress they are able to achieve with this anonymity. And stay in touch.
Yeah, sounds good, and let's hope that it will actually happen. Alex, thank you very much. Gentlemen, what is your name? Martin, I think you were so active that there is a risk that next week you're going to present something. But thank you very much for your comments and explanations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Anastasija, for this help to host this event. And
Kevin, you have a question from the last presentation to Anastasija from about Australia? No?
Oh, yeah, sure.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
You can shoot.
Andrew, my question is, you showed that a lot of cryptocurrencies are accepted in different places in Australia.
Yeah, correct.
My question is how they are dealing with the government regarding that, or you ask them as you're working as a lawyer also. So what is the situation here, and what do you think we can have or learn from them to implement there and to talk with the authorities when we are in Lithuania?
Well, first of all, I spoke, I think, with all owners of the businesses who are, because those companies, they have, let's say, 2 city centers, and one of them is called 4th Street Valley, but in reality it's Crypto Valley. You'll have all blockchain startups and all crypto startups working there. So just these people, and who are so enthusiastic about the technology, basically they pushed all business owners to implement payments. And I was present, there was like really new sushi place opening, really small one, takeaway, and I saw people, I became friends with them later on, and they were bullying owner to accept crypto, saying, you know, how many customers you will have. And the guy was saying that I pay only with Bitcoin Cash, and if you don't have it, I won't come here. So community member, it comes firstly from community members who have cryptocurrency, who are ready to spend, and then business owners, they see business opportunity to just expand their operations, to have better turnover, and then when you have number of business owners, let's say even 5 or 10 or 15, you can actually go to the local tax department and ask them, right guys, there is a community need, and we need clear mechanisms how to account it, how to pay taxes, and how everything works. And this is what happened in Australia. So it was, again, it was community effort to talk and to legislature and push what was needed. And they do pay taxes from these transactions. They're just being fixed at this certain moment in time. So let's say if the hot dog is $5, it will be $5 just taken from your crypto.
So I understand, but if you are getting any crypto, are you allowed to pay to taxes also crypto, or you have to pay regular money?
I think in that case,
or you haven't asked that? Just
I did ask, not all of it. There were a few actually members of local semi-tax department. They have slightly different structure there. Maybe there's not too many things to do, so everyone is at the same place. But no, they pay taxes from fiat. But there are companies and exchanges who are very happy to work with them as well. So they have a CoinSpot, they have ACX exchange. Actually, Digital X, they did an ICO, and now they're listed and being traded on the shares exchange as well in Australia. So if you do everything properly, there is a big chance that you'll be able just to expand your operations and operate in crypto. So it's they do have fiat gateways, and they're quite easy as well for Australian citizens, especially CoinSpot. It's expensive, but it's a good exchange with fiat gateway. So there are those actual practical tools. It's still not super smooth, but businesses can establish the process and it will work really well.
I would like to ask the audience, how many of you would like to pay for things in your crypto? Like, you'd be willing to go outside and... Good! How many of you already did this in Lithuania? Because there are some places to accept it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 people. So I think this is also the Australian thing, that there is like everyone is going there and pushing in. And most of us would like to, some of us don't know where to, or we don't go to those 2 or 3 places in Vilnius that we can actually. Yeah.
My question also is, you said that in Australia it takes up to 3 days to clear the money, like to get...
In some cases, yes.
Yeah, between the banks. But so my thoughts are probably we like skip that old technology, and Lithuania we live in a technology where you can instantly practically payments.
Absolutely,
like,
and now
probably that why they needed why they huge need in a transaction of the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because it's much faster than you have right now the technology.
Yeah,
My question is for you and for you also to think if we really have fast transactions in our local currency like euros, like if you have Revolut, I can send you in couple of in a fraction of a second. It's so easy. So my question is, technology behind it's good, we understand that, but is this usable right now in the situation we have with the transaction fees and everything in, for example, Lithuania? It is worth to go with that to have transaction which has a less speed actually than we have right now. Yes, for investing. Yes, for having like huge transactions and between for example, to send to Australia money. Probably yes. That's a more discussion or question.
Short answer, yes. Longer answer, so like Bitcoin has Lightning Network. Bitcoin is essentially now slow. You want fast transactions? Use Lightning Network. So Lightning Network is, as mentioned, like a tangle. So you settle your transactions off the blockchain and then settle the difference between like me and the semi-centralized spot who actually establishes the Lightning Network or the tangle. So basically this opens semi-centralized payment hubs like Pcero and crypto, but that essentially allows super fast payments of Bitcoin. And Ethereum has alternatives, and as you saw, Burst basically has this thing built in or built on actually.
And also from my side, I am happy to use crypto, let's say on daily basis and etc. But also it's really important to think that before banks had the danger of this proper competition, they were not so eager to improve those things. So it's really important that it's not like we're pushing banks to improve their tools and financial instruments. It gives us gives us a just better selection of the tools and products. If I want to transfer value of money, and let's not forget, if we're talking about the tokens, which is also partially cryptocurrency, they can represent almost any assets, and then I can transfer this asset all across the globe under certain conditions. But as Martin said, that networks are improving, industry is still quite young, and we will see better and better development and features.
So, thank you. I would like to thank you all, and you can stay here and still engage in these conversations, give questions, talk with each other. Let's find some new businesses here. And if any of you would like to be a part of Talk and Trade, and next time approach me and let's talk and let's make it more closer to you. It's this community is to share and learn. And talking about this, I would also like to promote a couple of events that not only Talk and Trade is happening here in Blockchain Centre, and so follow us on Facebook, and you will see more events, not only in Talk and Trade, but some on taxes, on ICO, on marketing, and we had just a very successful sold out for tomorrow event. So happy for those who already bought the ticket. But yeah, follow us. And new thing, now we are launching first Blockchain one-on-one masterclass for those of your friends who don't know yet anything or you know just a little about blockchain. So it will be very basic course for those who really want to learn what is blockchain, what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum, where do we use it, what are the use cases of it, and then we also will teach people how to open the wallet, how to make first transactions. So you can find more information on Eventbrite. The event is on Eventbrite. And we will post the info to Facebook, Twitter, and all other platforms. So follow us. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Anastasija, for being host. And yeah, enjoy the evening.